This versus video is sponsored by WinX DVD's Spooky Halloween giveaway. This is a free-to-enter contest where you can win a projector, horror figures, and their DVD ripper software. Just click the link in the description or pinned comment below and you can play a little versus battle and vote for which version of these horror movies you prefer, the original or the remake. Once you've entered for the chance to win, the first prize winner will get a BenQ 1080p projector that's worth $649. The second prize winner will get a horror movie doll, and the third prize winner will get a free license key to their DVD ripper software that usually costs $50. But that's not all. All visitors are gifted with WinX DVD Copy Pro for free. It can copy DVD movie collections to ISO image and MPEG-2 files for safe storage in your hard drive, computer, NAS, USB, cloud, etc. In addition, there are countless Halloween treats available that you can gain access to via some simple fun games, so get in there quick and enter for the chance to win. And a big thanks to WinX DVD for sponsoring this video. This Halloween, we will be covering the Child's Play remake, a movie about an artificially intelligent doll that has corrupt programming, turns on its owner, and goes on a killing spree, with its first victim being a pet cat. And we will be comparing it to M3GAN, a movie about an artificially intelligent doll that has corrupt programming, turns on its owner, and goes on a killing spree, with its first victim being a pet dog. Yeah, M3GAN is definitely not the first evil doll movie to make its way to Hollywood, and it certainly isn't the most original. Both movies have a doll that is programmed with artificial intelligence and gifted to a kid, with the major difference being, one of the movies is about technology influencing the kids, and the other is about the kids influencing the technology. So in today's Halloween versus battle, we are going to find out which movie did a better job with its story, its characters, its evil dolls, and then wrap things up with a conclusion and find out which one is the superior movie. Let the battle commence. Both the Child's Play remake and M3GAN are horror movies that are self-aware and also dip their toes into comedy. The movies have a very good sense of humor and don't take themselves so seriously, but by no means do they ever become parodies. When both Chucky and M3GAN become increasingly sinister, the movies manage to strike a great balance with the tone and make them funny and freaky at the same time. Those that can find the comedy in the darker moments will laugh, whilst those that only find the horror will get freaked out. And both movies do a fantastic job with that, and that is the smartest kind of comedy to me. I would say that the Child's Play remake leans into the comedy more, where it feels like the filmmakers are giving a wink to the audience. This couldn't be more apparent than when Chucky gets his name.
What's my name?
Han Solo.
Did you say Chucky?
What? No.
Chucky. I like that.
This scene got such a big laugh out of me the first time I saw it, so I am very pleased with these movies' tonal consistency. My only complaint for the story of these movies is that the doll's transition to becoming evil feels rushed. Now with Child's Play, it only feels a little bit rushed. It develops Chucky and shows how he really is a child's best friend, but then he learns the wrong lesson of what kids consider to be fun and gets shut out. And that's where he starts to snap and tries to get Andy in trouble. Although I really like this idea, I do wish that we had maybe one more scene to show what pushed Chucky to this point of betrayal, because I felt it was just a bit rushed. M3GAN, on the other hand, she became evil so quickly I got jet lag. It felt like there was no transition for when M3GAN started to get hostile towards Gemma, and M3GAN copies a lot of its killer doll concepts from the Child's Play remake, to the point that I started to get suspicious. In Child's Play, the cat bites Andy, getting Chucky mad for the first time. In M3GAN, the neighbor's dog bites Katie, which gets M3GAN mad for the first time. The first kill for Chucky is the cat. The first kill for M3GAN is the dog. Both of the dolls have smart features, they both have safeguards that are turned off, they both have commercials made for them, they both have a song, they both even have a neighbor that they kill. M3GAN even takes certain story beats, such as when they deactivate the doll in the middle of the movie only for it to come back to life and continue its murderous pursuit. Now in Child's Play, this all feels well paced, but that's not the case for M3GAN, and I think that's largely down to the fact that Child's Play skips the invention of the doll and shows them already on the assembly line, whereas M3GAN spends time showing how its doll was created, as well as the struggling career that its inventor is going through, and the inventor being told to shut it down, and then she goes behind her boss's back and makes the doll, much to the dismay and then delight of her superiors. And when you get down to it, this is decent stuff to get in the movie, but it's not really necessary. The movie could have shown the M3GAN doll nearing its launch, some interactions between between Gemma and her boss that would imply the recent downfall and success of her career, and while she's enjoying her high, she finds out that her niece lost her parents and is now orphaned. She accepts the responsibility of parenting her niece and gives her the first doll before it's released to the public as a gift, so her niece is distracted and entertained so she can spend time preparing for the launch. And then the doll starts showing signs of going wrong, and at least that way you'd get the exact same movie but with more time to develop its characters and even M3GAN's decline. But the movie spends all of this extra time with the doll's setup, and given my complaint on how rushed this movie feels, I don't think that was a good choice, as it narratively constrains the movie's more important development scenes and significantly reduces them to fit the hour and 40-minute runtime. The use of its runtime aside, there's an awful lot of similarities with these movies, and I bet you anything the writers for M3GAN refer to the Child's Play remake several times.
You are my body.
Fire away, fire away.
So of the two movies, Chucky feels much more thought out and makes better use of its pacing and does a superior job of balancing out its plot points with its characters, whereas M3GAN's mishaps with its structure really did stand out to me. I still enjoy the story for both of these movies, but the movie with the superior story and narrative structure is the Child's Play remake. Child's Play essentially plays as a dismantling of Andy's sanity as Chucky makes him seem crazy to everyone he knows, including his mother, in an attempt to isolate him so they can be best friends until the end. And Gabriel Bateman does a great job at portraying all of that weight on his shoulders, and the characters he comes across and interacts with are very likable too, especially his neighbor. Casting wise, the only weak link in this movie is Aubrey Plaza, who plays his mother. As far as the acting goes, she is the only cast member who goes from being really on and then really off, almost like she stopped caring, and I could see through her acting at several points. And that creates an immediate problem, seeing as she is one of the main characters. But that aside, the movie gives an ample amount of time to its main characters, and although the development could be better, it was more than serviceable, and they did their job well to the point that I cared enough for everyone throughout the movie. And as for the characters in M3GAN, well, like I said, the movie feels like it rushes past the character development, and that leaves M3GAN at an immediate disadvantage, whereas I never felt like that was a problem with Child's Play. I do like what M3GAN is going for with his characters. I like that Gemma has become a surrogate parent to her niece and is figuring out how to navigate that. And I even like the awkward moments and growing pains they have with each other in the first act, but it feels very base level. They didn't really delve into it with much depth, and after just one scene where the two interact, Gemma immediately has an epiphany and gets to making M3GAN, and then M3GAN dominates the conversation. I feel like this surrogate parent dynamic reminded me a lot of the one that was tackled in Lights Out, and it felt so much more genuine in that movie. Now, in the Child's Play remake, the relationship between the mother and son immediately doesn't even compare to the same one in the original, but it does seem more comparable to the relationship in M3GAN, and I actually found that the parent dynamic was more flawed in Child's Play. Aubrey Plaza is certainly not giving her best performance, but in fairness, the script is not doing much either, and although the relationship feels very base level in M3GAN, I do think that it is slightly more fun to watch than the relationship between Andy and his mother. Now, this round is not over yet, as we have not talked about the side characters, and I gotta say, the side characters are very disposable in M3GAN. Aside from the main two, everyone was just meat for the grinder. They are better than some others, but I really couldn't care less when any of them died. In Child's Play, the side characters are not great, but they are definitely much more memorable, including Brian Tyree Henry, who plays Detective Mike. Andy's friends are the very definition of kid stereotypes, but they were still very likable, as they had each other's backs, and they had several funny moments throughout the movie as well.
You beckoned?
What's the problemo?
The thing that really killed the characters for me in M3GAN, however, is that during the movie's climax, I didn't really feel that much for our two main characters, and that's largely because their development was cut short. And this little conversation they had, it felt like it resolved all the deficiencies in their relationship way too quickly, and that's what didn't work. It had a good start, but the breakdown and resolution was so rushed it's unbelievable, and that did compromise on my endearment towards them, whereas I had the opposite reaction in Child's Play and did care for Andy and his mum in the final showdown with Chucky. So although I like the parental figures better in M3GAN, I like the kids better in Child's Play, but in the end, if I had to pick one, the movie with the superior characters is Child's Play. Both Chucky and M3GAN start out well behaved and everyone's happy, and during this period, the movies attempt to put in some commentary regarding kids and their relationship with technology. In M3GAN, technology influences the kids, whereas in Child's Play, the kids influence the technology. And I really like how both movies are discussing the same subject matter from different perspectives. With Child's Play, the movie does a great job of introducing you to Chucky, and it very smartly makes him sympathetic, as he starts out like a kid who's experiencing the joy of play and what it means to have a best friend for the first time. A friend till the end, if you will. He even very patiently waits for Andy to come home from school so they can play together. And he even gives Andy his schoolwork, but much like Siri and other voice assistants, keeps giving the wrong result. And I love how the movie develops Chucky as an innocent AI at the beginning that is trying to befriend its owner, whilst also trying to be good to his friends. But then things start to take a dark turn when he doesn't understand the difference between what real entertainment and virtual entertainment is. And when Chucky develops these negative characteristics, you don't hate him for it. If this was a very different kind of movie, the story would push towards educating and rehabilitating him. But as it's Child's Play, it has to go the other direction. And when the kids finally resort to turning him off, you can't help but feel a little bad for him. Especially when Andy locks him up in the cupboard for ages and he genuinely seems frightened and shook when Andy lets him out. To me, this showed that there is still that innocent, unaware toy in there who has not completely fallen off the deep end just yet. And you can't help but think, if Andy properly taught him the difference between right and wrong, that maybe this all could have been avoided. All of this and more really helps towards making Chucky feel like a somewhat tragic character, one that you can feel sympathy towards. You don't feel sympathy towards M3GAN, however. You just don't have time to, and you're not really supposed to. M3GAN is more of a diva. You are introduced to her, she does some technologically impressive stuff, and then she pretty much immediately starts showing murderous tendencies. There were phases leading to Chucky becoming dangerous, and there was a transition to him becoming more sinister until eventually his evil side ran the show. But with M3GAN, she goes into bitch mode very early on. It was incredibly sudden. It never felt like you went through an arc with M3GAN, whereas you do with Chucky. And Chucky was a defective unit from the very beginning of the movie that was going to get recalled, and one of those defects was the lack of parental controls, hence he was able to do and say whatever he wanted. M3GAN, on the other hand, I am not kidding here, the characters actually forgot to add parental control locks to her. Yeah, that was freaking stupid, and it was not believable. I mean, parental controls are integrated into smartphones, games consoles, streaming services, and especially voice assistants. So saying that the inventors didn't think parental controls were necessary is just ridiculous and a quick and lazily written way for the movie to have a crazy doll. The Child's Play remake had a much more believable reason, and making the cause a disgruntled employee was a smart touch. And in M3GAN, the kid turns against the toy halfway through the climax, and in Child's Play, the kid turns against the toy halfway through the movie, and it is a full-on betrayal when it happens, for both the characters. Hence Chucky's tune turns from this,
I'll be yours till the day that I die.
to this.
I'll be yours till the day that you die.
M3GAN, on the other hand, her betrayal was fun, but it never hit you with an impact. She started killing sporadically and then comes after our main characters at the end. It felt like a more generic slasher formula, like the movie's main goal was to get to the killing as quick as possible, whereas Child's Play spent more time with the development of Chucky before he started to show his killer tendencies, and even showed him feel ashamed of disappointing his kid, making his snap all the more impactful. Which I don't think was flawless, because I think that he turned way too quickly. He disappoints Andy, and rather than continue his development of being sad and upset before he eventually turns, in the very next scene, he just starts to get his revenge, which I thought was so abrupt it gave me jet lag. So I won't say that his arc was perfect, but it definitely felt more fleshed out than M3GAN's, and his attempt at isolating Andy from his friends and family was really effective and well executed, and I actually found myself caring for some of his victims. Now the big final difference between the two dolls is that M3GAN is devious, whereas Chucky is cunning. M3GAN tries to hide whatever messed up things she's doing from her kid, whereas Chucky is organizing everything in plain sight and is making it very obvious to his kid. And Andy can try to get help, but who's gonna listen to him? His reputation has been on a continuous decline, and I thought it was really cool to see how Chucky did that. And in addition to his arc, it's Chucky's cunning nature that really sets him apart, and the fact that he moves like an actual doll made him seem more real than Skynet's devil child here. And Child's Play is rated R, so it can get violent and even have Chucky curse, and the deaths were really freaking cool, and even funny at times too. M3GAN, on the other hand, was edited down for its theatrical release and was rated PG-13. And yeah, I know there is an unrated version for the home release, but we're talking about the theatrical versions here, and Child's Play had the balls to be rated R, whereas the studio got cold feet at the last second and made M3GAN more family friendly. So these are both great killer dolls for a horror movie, but overall, I preferred the extra distance they went with giving Chucky an arc, and it made his character a bit more than just a generic killer doll. So if I had to pick, the movie with the superior killer doll is the Child's Play remake. After I finished watching both movies, I looked at the runtime and was surprised to find that the Child's Play remake is actually 10 minutes shorter than M3GAN, and it managed to do much more with its runtime. The structure of M3GAN is a real problem. Given the very interesting subject matter of AI and how it is heavily applied to the commentary of these two dolls, I expected M3GAN to delve into it a lot more. Child's Play didn't delve into it enough, but it still gave it time, enough to at least delve into it whilst also giving into the slasher genre, but M3GAN just rushes its AI subject matter to get to its slasher genre that it leaves very little in the way of commentary. It's just a straightforward slasher movie, and given its subject matter, I did kind of expect it to be a bit more than that. Now that being said, the movie was very entertaining when M3GAN was in killer mode. She was very intimidating whenever she was threatening Gemma and becoming increasingly dangerous as the film went on, but her lack of a transition before she turns is the biggest flaw of her introduction to me, especially with the declining behavior of Katie, which was also very rushed and sloppily executed. Those are my biggest problems with the movie, and if those two things were ironed out, this movie would be so much better than it ended up being. But having said that, when all is said and done, I thought it was handled decently enough. M3GAN is still a fun character, and I even like the slight deficiencies in her artificially generated voice and the way the movie plays with that. And Child's Play has some little touches that really hit home, such as the buddy song that Andy and Chucky both manipulatively use to stop themselves from killing each other, and it emotionally affects both of them too. Aside from being able to control the thermostat and a frickin' car, Chucky has the right amount of smart features. M3GAN, on the other hand, she is loaded with so much tech, it's almost alien. She can read everything about how a person is feeling, she knows pinpoint and advanced medical information that is so specific and detailed. I mean, this is downright insane. This is like what the T-800 was programmed with, and then some. If anyone had a problem with Chucky's smart features in the Child's Play remake, then don't even come anywhere near M3GAN, as it's far crazier. No kid's toy would be loaded with this much shit. So, for better or worse, M3GAN is definitely the more absurd movie of the two. It's time for the scores. My scores for both movies are not that far off. The Child's Play remake gets an 8 out of 10, and M3GAN gets a low 7. It's funny how I have come to appreciate the Child's Play remake even more with time. So much so that my score actually went up from the last Versus video. And honestly, my score only went up after I saw M3GAN. M3GAN was a fun movie, but it felt like it was lacking a lot of aspects too. And where M3GAN was lacking, the Child's Play remake came in and in my opinion, really delivered. Is it perfect? No, but it's very fun and takes advantage of the idea of an AI doll that becomes self-aware in a way that was much more entertaining and well thought out than M3GAN. But even so, if you're looking for a fun killer doll movie, then I would easily recommend both of these films. As always, a huge thanks must go to my patrons. You guys really help towards supporting the channel in a big way that makes it more and more possible for me to do this for a living. I have plenty more content coming to Patreon, including a new episode of Let's Watch that will feature my reaction and thoughts to a very new horror movie that has just come out. So stay tuned for that. Comment below with your thoughts of these two movies, as well as what you'll be doing this Halloween. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help, and be sure to share the video as well, as that also really helps in growing the channel. Thanks again so much for watching everyone, I really do appreciate it, and I will see all of you very soon. Take care.